for being here. We're really excited to share this content with you. So this is Level Up Your Desk Body. We're going to be talking about workspace setup and 3 of our favorite exercises for people who work at a desk. So we're really glad you're here, and we're going to introduce ourselves real quick. I have a feeling that a lot of people who are in the virtual room already know who we are, but for those of you who don't, my name is Amy Hooper. I'm a doctor of physical therapy and a co-owner of Eastside Movement Company Physical Therapy.
And I'm Anthony Rosito. I am also a doctor of physical therapy and co-owner with Amy as well.
So I'm also the lead amateur graphic designer of Eastside Movement Company, as well as a climber, cyclist, swimmer, and volleyballer. And I talk with my hands, especially when I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm more of the secondary graphic designer when the primary one is fully busy. I also like to climb, cycle. I run every now and then. I also like to lift weights. Big fan of podcasts. I'll talk a lot about how I discovered podcasts in 2008 when I had to put them into my iPod. So it's a pretty big deal for me.
And we founded Eastside Movement Company this year because we wanted to create a space for ourselves to provide intentional, holistic physical therapy to help people overcome pain and live happier, healthier lives. And we felt like doing that as business owners was the best way to do that. So here we are.
So why this workshop? Obviously for decades, maybe even millennia, people have had difficulty with their home desk setup. It causes a lot of aches and pains throughout the day. So we kind of created this as a guide to help you with those 2 problems. The materials in this workshop should help you improve your ergonomic setup as well as kind of improve your overall health. If you'd like a recording of the workshop, and like our ebook that kind of accompanies this, we have some of your emails already, but if you didn't sign up through the Google form, we're going to put a link to that at the end. So feel free to just leave your email and name, and then we can send that out to you after the fact. And the other thing too is we are physical therapists and we own a physical therapy company. We wanted to provide the community with something that we thought was beneficial for them. However, we will be offering a discount on our services at the end of the workshop. But we did not hold back on anything we put in here. We think that everything that you have is very comprehensive and very actionable. So you should be able to take away a lot from this in and of itself. Alrighty, so this is what we will be going through: how to sit, which we're all currently doing for the most part from what I see. Ideal ergonomic setup, importance of stacking, breathing, and variability, as well as 3 exercises to kind of level up your body.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start out with a demo here. However you're sitting, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to sit all the way slouched. So like the picture that says sit slouched, sit all the way slouched down in your chair. And I want you to notice what happens with both your hips and with your rib cage. So if I had a back to slouch back again, so I would do this with you guys. We're sitting on stools, so not going to slouch back. So when you slouch back, what happens is that your pelvis ends up rolling more underneath you a little bit, and your rib cage ends up sort of collapsed down. And the next thing I want you to do, the other end of the spectrum, I want you to sit up straight. So like your mom told you sit up straight, so now you're going to sit up all the way straight. And I want you to think about what happens at your hips and what happens at your rib cage and even in your back muscles when you sit up all the way straight. And if you follow us on Instagram, you got a little spoiler of this yesterday? 2 days ago, a couple days ago, yeah. So when you sit up straight, your pelvis ends up rolled forward a little bit like in that picture. Your rib cage also ends up. And what that happens is you notice as you're sitting up straight, you probably really feel your back muscles, especially in your lower back, working hard. And to a lot of people, sitting up straight is good posture. And people are like, well, I know you sit up straight, but I can't sit up straight all day at my desk at work because my back starts to hurt because you're using your back muscles so much. So really, sitting slouched and sitting up straight are okay to do for a little while throughout your day, but the average position that you should be in over time should be the sitting stacked. So to sit stacked, we're going to go through a couple of steps here. The first thing you need to do to sit stacked is that you got to find your ischial tuberosities. Those are your sit bones. Will you grab me that pelvis? Yeah. So your sit bones, here's the pelvis here. Here's the front of the pelvis. If you flip around, here's the back of the pelvis or your hips. So you have the very bottom of your pelvis. It's sort of rounded and bony because it's a bone. And that is in the very bottom of your butt. So if you take both of your hands and you put your hands on your butt, you can probably feel your bones through the other tissue in your butt. So you want your weight when you're sitting stacked going through those two bones, right? So you don't want to be so rolled forward that there's not weight on those. You don't want to be so rolled back that you can't like feel those two bones anymore. You want to get those bones on your chair with your feet flat on the ground. And then once those bones are on your chair, you want to roll your pelvis back just a little bit so that you can really feel the weight through those bones. And some people feel actually a little bit slouched when they're sitting stacked because they're used to having their hips tilted forward all the time, but make sure your hips are rolled back, and then you're going to drop your rib cage down as well. So the way you can think about it is like your rib cage sits sort of like this, or is shaped like that. If you were to look at it from the side, your pelvis is shaped sort of like this from the side. And when you sit up straight, you're like this. When you sit slouched, you're like this. When you sit stacked, your rib cage and your pelvis are like looking at each other, or like opposing each other like that. And that's what we want. Again, it's okay to sit up straight for a while. It's okay to sit slouched for a while, but your average position over time, you should be aiming to sit stacked more often. And Anthony is about to talk about why that's important.
All right, so the reason it's important is really for breathing. As you can see, this guy is just taking a really great deep breath, enjoying his life because he's breathing so well through his nose. So 22,000, that is the amount of times we inhale and exhale throughout the day. It is our most common thing we do as far as movement goes, so why not optimize that movement pattern? So like Amy was saying, the reason why we think about stacking our rib cage and putting that rib cage over the top like that, kind of like that up, kind of C shape, is because it domes the diaphragm in like a good position. So the diaphragm essentially sits just right under your rib cage. The right one sits over the top of your liver. The left one sits over the top of your stomach. So they have a little bit different shape there. But so when you're slouched, it's not in a great position. And when you're too far like arched, it's also not in a great position. So that stacked position is going to keep that at like almost like a neutral spot there. And so again, it can act as a pump. So the other big thing that we say with breathing is why nasal breathing. So nasal breathing is important because it actually is going to give you more diaphragm-like activity. So again, when you're breathing through your mouth versus your nose, you're essentially going to use more of like your chest muscles, your neck muscles, even some of your low back muscles to breathe a little bit more versus through your nose. It's a very hard thing to do. As someone that really struggles with that, it definitely can take some time to learn. There's a couple other reasons why we like nasal breathing as well. From an athletic performance perspective, when you mouth breathe, we tend to overbreathe, and it actually makes our bodies more acidic versus more basic. So by nasal breathing, it keeps us in more of a neutral state. Cardiovascularly, it helps relax our blood vessels a little bit more. And then nervous system wise, it's going to activate more of our parasympathetic nervous system. So more of our rest and digest. So it allows us to kind of like relax a little bit more. I think a good way to think about it is when you're nasal breathing, it's like shutting the lights off. When you go to bed, you're going to have a better night's sleep. Then mouth breathing, you typically have more sympathetic, and your lights are going to be on when you're sleeping. So yes, you can fall asleep, but it's not going to be as great if the lights were off. Alrighty, so the ergonomic setup for our sitting desk is going to be basically all the parameters are going to be in the picture there. Okay. The only things I would really want to add to it, other than obviously like starting off in a stacked position, is have some good weight through your feet, and then a little bit of weight through your sits bones as well. That's kind of where most of your pressure should be. We put a pad here or a cushion because it helps your body sense the floor a little bit better and helps your body know where it's at in space a little bit better. So adding like a little bit of a cushion or a pillow or something like that can also help as well. And I think it's really important to have a good setup just because it starts you off from a good spot. It allows you to move, into that arch position and slouch for a little bit, but then mostly find that stack throughout the day. And again, it's not the end all be all to be in that stack position all the time. It's just where we want you to start out and where we want you to kind of go back to over time.
And then when it comes to standing desk setup, things are relatively similar. So we want your screen about an arm's length away, and the top of your screen should be level with your eyes. Our model here is Dan, who is actually in the call, so thank you very much, Dan, for letting me take your picture. And Dan's screen in this picture is a little bit low. I would raise Dan's screen up just a little bit here. But we want your weight mostly in your heels as you're standing, and you can do either like foot straight on, like Dan's doing, or you can do a stagger stance, one foot in front of the other. Really, and we're going to talk about this a little bit more, variability is like the most important part. Your body doesn't like staying in one position for an extended amount of time. And like, you probably know that intuitively, but it can be really, really helpful to remember that and to remind yourself of that and to like change position throughout the day. So, or throughout like the hour even. So people ask like, do I need a standing desk? Like, is a standing desk the best way to go? Is a sitting desk the best way to go? Like, a standing desk isn't going to make or break you, but it allows you a lot more variability in how you are positioned throughout your day. So it can be a really, really valuable tool for adding in more variability. And that's really the way that I think about, like, is a standing desk good or not? It's that it adds variability. So there's other things you can do to add variability in that we will talk about in just a moment here.
And then there was a question in the chat, you know, should you put your feet on something squishy versus something solid? I would say go in between. I would say if you're going to do something squishy, not too squishy, right? Like you want to have like some firmness so it kind of conforms to your foot. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that guy.
Yeah, again, variability is good. So if you stand on a squishy pad for some of the time, stand not on a squishy pad for some of the time. So that brings us to the next point, that your body really loves variety and novelty. So novelty being new things. So use that to approach like both the way that you move like while you're exercising or while you're like going on a walk or while you're getting some physical activity, but also in terms of how your like how you work and how your like desk is laid out and what's going on with that. So in terms of different things you can do to introduce some variety and some novelty, is that like whatever your sort of like preferred pattern or preferred like setup is, try to see if you can switch that up a little bit. So if you're right-handed, for example, which most people obviously are going to be right-handed, try placing like papers, your phone, or other items on your left side throughout the day. So don't always put things on your right side. If you want to get really crazy, you could put your mouse on your left side and try moving around your mouse with your left hand. Another thing that I like to tell people to do is that if they're going to like be mousing with their right hand, to put their left hand on their thigh. That really helps sort of like add a little bit of like grounding to people's bodies. In terms of other things, like if you have more than one monitor, change it, like put one monitor straight in front of you and put one monitor out to the left of you. Generally people are going to be more like right side dominant in that like they're going to use their right hand more, they're going to have their stuff on their right side more. So if you know that that's you, adding something to the left side, whether that's like a monitor, whether it's like the office supplies you have, can be really, really helpful as well. And we had a question about, is lumbar support on your desk chair important? Is it bad to cross your legs? So it's not bad to cross your legs. Again, like cross your legs for a little bit of time. Don't sit with your legs crossed for the whole day, right? And if that is your pattern to always have your legs crossed, especially try to not have your legs crossed for some of the time.
Yeah, and if you had to cross your legs, try crossing like your right one over your left first, and then switch to your left over your right. You know, and just try to, again, like Amy's saying, change whatever you like typically do. But we tend to find like more people do it, vice versa. And then lumbar support.
Yeah, so lumbar support, a lot of people I'll see will just like sort of like get like a big lumbar roll and put it in the small of their back, and it really depends on like how much of an arch you have in your back. The most important thing to do is to figure out where that stacked position is with your pelvis rolled back and your weight through your sit bones, and then to fill in the extra space between you and the back of your chair. So if you have a chair that's more like person shaped and it has a little bit of curve in the low back already and it meets your back where it is, you probably don't need to add anything. But if you already get your weight and your sit bones and like you're stacked and you have space between you and the back of the chair, go ahead and fill that in with a pillow, with a blanket, with a specific lumbar roll, whatever like fills that gap the best. Does that make sense? Yeah, cool. Let's see, let me pull up the notes on the computer again. Perfect. Talked about monitors, talked about the mouse. Oh, and then one of the most important things you can do for yourself is get up at least once per hour. And especially if you're working from home right now, it's probably easier to get up once per hour unless you're in some crazy long meeting. Once per hour, stand up, walk around, change positions for a little bit. Another thing that's really, really helpful that I like to do and I like to advise people to do is to find something far away to look at. So as far away as you can find within your workspace, or if you can like walk to where you can see a window and look out the window, it can be really helpful to give your eyes a break, to give your body a break from being so close up. If you think about it, people have only really had like computers and phones and screens close up for a little bit of time, and our bodies really aren't adapted to do that all the time. And it can like really relax your eye muscles and like decrease sort of your overall like nervous system like level of sort of like how heightened your nervous system is by like pausing and finding like something far away to look at. And if you don't have something far away, find whatever is the farthest away and look at it for just 20 or 30 seconds, and it's going to help your body like overall. Okay, so let's try some exercises. If you want to turn your camera on and like we'll give feedback to people and comment to people as it's one. If you don't feel like trying the exercises, you don't have to, but we invite you to try them if you would like to. So we got 3 things we're going to do, and for each thing before we do them, we're going to have like a little test, and then we're going to do the exercise, the intervention, and then we're going to have a little retest, because like I always like to know, like, is what I'm doing like making a difference for my body? Is what I'm doing as a physical therapist making a difference to someone else's body? Maybe it's a little bit of the like engineer mindset. My background's engineering, that like I always want to have a test and a retest. So to do these exercises, you're going to need eventually a wall, some space on the floor, and your own body. So nothing super fancy. And as everyone's sort of getting into position or finding some room there, the first test that we're going to do is a little bit subjective, and I'm going to talk to you about it. We really like this exercise, and we think that there's value in it. That's why we chose to do it. But this is the most like subjective sort of like test retest that we have. So right now, I want you to check in with your body, see how maybe like tired you are, how fatigued you are. Does your head feel pretty good? Does your head feel kind of heavy? Does your body feel pretty good? Does your body feel kind of heavy? Like, make note of that and how you feel and of what's going on for a second, because this exercise is going to see if we can change that. So this one is called the Magic 7. So the Magic 7 is for your lymphatic system. So your lymphatic system is a system that like runs all over your body and helps manage fluid in your body. A lot of times people only know the lymphatic system when it comes to cancer, but the lymphatic system works and can help you out even if you don't have cancer, and is really important, even if that's not what's going on for you. So the Magic 7 stimulates your lymph nodes from their lowest pressure point to their highest pressure points to facilitate that fluid flow throughout your body. And the video, I believe, explains the rest of it. And I'm gonna play the video, and I want you to like move along with the video. So there's enough time in the video that you'll be able to like do this exercise along with the video. And I'm gonna make it full screen. All right, we're going to go over the Magic 7 for your lymphatic system. So you're going to start on your left side and then go to your right side for each of these places. First spot you're going to start out is right above your collarbone, so left side first. And 5 slaps for each place, right side. Next place you're going to go is... Uh-oh.
Buffering. No.
Okay, sometimes you try to be cool and have a video and it doesn't work out. So we're gonna do this live. So I'm gonna stand up and run through this with you guys. Okay, so for each of these spots, we're gonna slap where a bunch of lymph nodes are 5 times for each spot. So the first spot we're gonna start out with, we're gonna go ahead and restart, is right above your collarbones. So you're gonna find your collarbones. We're gonna do the left side first. You're gonna take your hand, 5 slaps on the left side, 5 slaps on the right. Next one you're going to go is right behind your ears. You're going to find your earlobe, and then you're going to go right behind your earlobe, 2 fingers here, gentle slaps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next one you're going to do is you're going to put your hand below your collarbone on your like chest, sort of out towards your armpit. 5 slaps here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 slaps on the other side. Next place you're going to go is you're going to tap down your sternum, which is the big bone in the middle of your chest. So you're going to tap, I just use my fingertips like this. You're going to tap down, and you're going to tap back up, and then you're going to tap back down. Next spot you're going to do is you're going to put your hands on your belly, and you're going to slap 10 times total on your belly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Next spot you're going to go for is going to be your, like, right where your hips meet your, yep, thank you, right here, right where your legs meet your groin. You're going to go on the inside of your legs there, 10 slaps total. Nice. And then the last place, the 7th place, it's called the Magic 7 because there's 7 places you're going to go, is you're going to find the bend in your knee, and you're going to go right above the bend in your knee, and you're going to put your hands on both sides, and you're going to do 10 slaps. Okay, so after you've slapped the 7 places, the last thing you're going to do is you're going to bounce up and down. So you're going to rebound. So little bitty bounces, and we're going to go for about 30 seconds. So you can bounce big, you can bounce small, you can bounce fast, you can bounce slow. So now that you've stimulated all of those lymphatic points where those lymph nodes are, this helps to move that lymph through your body a little bit. All of your lymph drains back to above your collarbone, which is why we stimulated that spot first. This helps move everything around. Make sure your belly stays nice and relaxed. And that was 30 seconds for me, so that's probably 30 seconds for you. And then go ahead and check in with your body again. Do you feel the same amount of fatigued? How's your head feel? How's your head feel in terms of heaviness? For me, this one always like decongest my sinuses really well. So I love it for that. Yeah, if you noticed a difference, you can pop it in the chat. We would love to hear if you had a difference. Upper back feels better. Awesome. Wait a couple seconds, see if anybody else has anything. Or if you want to give me a thumbs up if it helped. I feel less congested. Yeah, I love this one for feeling good because I'm not sitting anymore. Yeah. Feel more awake. Awesome. Cool. Okay. All right. So that was exercise 1, Magic 7. And then Anthony's gonna walk through exercise 2.
All right, so this next exercise is really gonna help with, something like a toe touch, more or less, right? So a thing that a lot of people have tried before in the past. So we want you to stand up, kind of bend forward as if you're gonna touch your toes, or touch your toes if you can. And what we want you to notice is, do you have any tightness in, kind of your hamstrings, tightness in your buttocks, the low back, any like burning or tightness even in the calves as well? So just kind of like note those things, going forward, how far you can go as well. If you can't touch the ground, that's okay. So this next one is going to help with that. So this one you'll definitely need a wall for. Okay, we'll see if the video works this time.
Let me give it a sec.
All right, so we're gonna go over next.
We'll let it load for a second. There we go. Great spot to be paused on. I would just make the best faces in these videos. All right, so let's see how far we get into this.
Exercise called legs up the wall. You want to find a wall somewhere you can lie. So here, you actually want to get your legs and your butt up the wall, and then you're basically just going to let everything kind of relax. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to inhale through my nose, exhale through my mouth like I'm breathing through a straw. As I'm exhaling, I'm thinking about a little bit of weight sinking my heels down toward the floor, my back relaxing toward the floor, and then my ribs moving toward my hip bones. I'm going to repeat this about 3 to 5 times. And when it's done, take it right back my knees from my chest. And then before I do the next round, I'll reset, bring my legs up back to where they were originally, and then repeat this for about 3 to 5 rounds.
Yeah, and we'll just do kind of 1 round tonight, but typically you can do like 3 to 5 rounds. If you have back tightness, this is such an awesome one to do. I know I can speak for myself and maybe Amy as well, how good this one feels. So if you have room, give it a shot. We'll give people like a couple minutes here.
Yeah.
My dog likes this one. Yeah.
Yeah, everyone's dogs like this one too. And we're gonna walk you through step by step again, like as you do it. So if you're gonna do this one, go ahead and get up close to a wall, and I'm gonna make the videos bigger so we can see more of you guys. Maybe if your camera's not to where we can see you, don't worry about it. If it is, we'll check you out.
Yeah, another dog. Very cute. Yep, and so try to get your butt up the wall as far as you can. So you almost want your low back just kind of like hanging there in like suspension. And then make sure you're just kind of, as you exhale, really relaxing those ribs down and letting those hips and ribs come together, okay? And you'll, again, some people even feel a stretch in the low back right away with this.
Yeah, Bridget, scoot your butt higher up the wall.
And then
yeah, there you go.
Dan looks good.
Dan, that looks good. Summer, that looks good.
That looks good. Summer looks good. Yeah.
So this one's really great because it puts your back muscles and your like abs in a position where they can't grip on. A lot of people like will over grip in their back muscles, especially if they're doing that like sit up straight all day position. They're over gripping in their low back, and then they have tension or tightness through their like six-pack muscles as well. And this one really helps loosen that up. So you're gonna breathe in through your nose, and then big exhale out through your mouth. And as you exhale out through your mouth, feel your ribs soften down towards the floor.
In those two muscles that Amy was mentioning, your back muscles as well as like kind of your six-pack abs can be they can kind of be involved with dysfunctional breathing, and again, overwork for your diaphragm. So it also helps shut those off to enhance your breathing as well. Okay, so once you're done with them, we want you to kind of stand up, bend forward as if you're going to touch your toes again, and see if you feel any difference with those things that we're talking about. Tip seat your butt higher on the wall. I would say start as close as you possibly can to the wall with like your knees bent, and then once there, then I would put the legs at the wall, and then get that last little bit as you have the legs straight. And also, if you have hardwood floors, you're just going to slide. So have like some sort of mat if you are doing it on hardwood floors. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could not get my ass up the wall.
Yeah,
I was just sliding through like a fish out of water.
I've had that happen to me a lot at our house.
If you did notice a difference, whether that's you feel better or you feel worse, throw it in the chat. Give us a thumbs up or thumbs down. You might have had more range of motion touching down towards your toes. Christina said she went down significantly further and didn't feel the tightness in her calves. That's awesome.
Got some thumbs up.
Got some thumbs up.
Nice.
Cool. So again, this is my go-to exercise, or my go-to thing to do if my back feels tight, especially if I've been like sitting for a lot of the day. If you have any pain with this one, don't do it. This exercise should not be painful. Got a couple more chats. Definitely more range of motion. Summer says, got a great leg stretch. Yep.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Okay. We rechecked already. Okay, so this next one, this next exercise is really great for tight hips. So to check, sort of to have an objective measure for your hips, we're gonna do hip rotation. So what I want you to do is I want you to stand up against a wall. And Anthony, you might have to tilt the camera down. I'm gonna stand in like the air, but it's, or not the air.
In space.
Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna stand in space without a wall behind me, but y'all are gonna understand what's going on. This will be easier if you put your back against a wall so you're not having to like keep your balance too, because this is about like your hip range of motion. What you're gonna do, you can also sit down for this one if you don't have a wall to put your back against, is you're gonna raise your knee up to where it's level with your hip, like you're sitting in a chair, and you're gonna rotate your leg one way, keeping the knee still, and then rotate your leg the other way. And I want you to notice how much motion you have on one side, on one direction versus the other. You're gonna have less motion when your foot is kicking out towards the like side away from your body versus the side towards your body. And I want you to check on the other side how that feels. And I want you to notice at the end of your range, does it feel like tight or pinchy in your hip? Does it feel okay? Could you keep going? So like for me, on my left side, I have less rotation in this direction than on the other side. And it feels just like tighter and pinchier in my hip on this side than on the other side. So make a note of what you got, and I'll give people another second to try this one for themselves. That's a good idea.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to be going over an exercise for hip
Oh
mobility.
no.
Oh no.
Okay, everybody got their baseline, like what's
Alright,
going
so
on with their
we're
hip? Oh no, oh geez.
Yeah. All right.
It's really loaded now.
It's very loaded now. Okay, so we'll play the exercise for this one, and then we'll like give everyone a chance to try it. So watch for this one.
And my dog, unlike everyone else's dog, has no interest in me on the floor. He is alive, he just is lazy. He does not move in this video.
So we're going to be going over an exercise for hip mobility, exploring your hip range of motion, called 90-90 transitions. So you're going to find yourself on the floor, feet maybe just a little bit further than hip width apart. And what you're going to do is you're going to inhale and exhale as you're doing so, into the nose, out to the mouth.
Oh, here we go. Roscoe's really
Up the mouth. And you'll start off small, just kind of rocking your hips back and forth in a nice pain-free range, exploring to see how far you can go. And then eventually, as you go, you'll kind of go to a full range, where you'll be in this 90-90 position. Kind of reach and move the opposite way all the way, as long as it's pain-free. And the key is to go nice and slow and controlled. And as you get better control, you can take one hand away. And eventually you can take both hands away. And again, as long as that's feeling pain-free. What I would do is I would do about 10 to 15 on each side, about 2 to 3 rounds.
Okay, so if you're not already on the floor, if you'd like to get on the floor and try this one out.
This one is, like the other one, also really awesome at just like loosening things up, especially if you've been sitting all day. Hips get very tight. I know mine do. And this one has been, I would say it's been a huge game changer for me as far as like, even like with my, with working out or climbing or anything like that. So this is a really awesome one.
Yep, so you start with your feet on the ground or your heels on the ground, your knees up, and you're gonna rotate side to side. Dogs, again, love this one.
Inhale and exhale kind of as you go. I tend to try to exhale when I get to the end of my rotation and pause, exhale all that air out, let my ribs fall down. Inhale, start rotating again. Exhale, pause at the end.
And like, as you're going, as you're exploring your range, especially if your hips are tight, use your hands to support yourself so that your full body weight isn't going. If this is pretty easy and your range is pretty good, you can turn this into a little bit of more of like a motor control, like skill exercise, and not use your hands and control the descent of your knees to the ground, one side to the other. It's called 90-90 because your hips and your knees are both at 90 degrees, if that was not obvious. We'll give everyone about another minute or so to try this out. If you're already done, you can stand up and recheck your hip motion. So do it the same way that you did it before. Check one side, check the other side. Does it feel the same? Do you have more motion? And then if you want to tell us if it feels better, feels worse, thumb up, thumb down, let us know in the chat. Alexander has less pinching. Summer's left hip pinches when she rotates it outward.
And then I kind of said to the people that had like a little bit more pinching, rotating their leg so their foot was in and so their femur rotates out. Sometimes that can happen based on like your breathing mechanics or even your hip position. Everybody has a little bit different ways of like how they compensate or how they move throughout the day. So yeah, some people will have a little bit more with rotating out versus rotating in. Typically we find it more with rotating in, but it's not super uncommon to see it with people rotating out as well. Sweet, less pinching.
Less
Awesome.
pinching now from Andrew. Awesome. Love to hear it. And we already rechecked there. Okay. So let's wrap things up. We talked about sitting, we talked about ergonomic and desk setup, and we also talked about our 3 favorite exercises, and I'm gonna let Anthony talk.
Yeah, and we really want to thank you guys for coming tonight. It means a lot for everybody to come out and support us. We really appreciate your time, and we really hope that what you learned today was more than you probably thought you were gonna learn, hopefully not less. And so we know that probably a lot of you, even like ourselves, are probably dealing with ongoing like aches and pains. Some of you have probably been ignoring these things for, you know, some time now. If that's you, we really want you to try to go and get some help for it, even if it's not with us. See someone for it, because we tend to find that these aches and pains can lead to longer term issues over time. We tend to help a lot of people that are similar in your age in activities. So if you've been avoiding doing something for a period of time, months, decades, you know, hopefully not decades at most of our ages, because that means you started pretty early avoiding that. You know, we want you to be able to get back to that. And if you had poor experiences with like medical providers in the past, we can guarantee that you will not have that with us. We do offer a free 15-minute consult, phone consult, and we'll put the link to like our website in the chat. So if you are interested in just trying to figure out a little bit more about what's going on or anything like that, we'd be happy to talk with you. We're also offering a discount to anybody that did go to the webinar, 50% off your first visit if you do schedule within a week, and that will be honored when or if you call our office. And again, we just really want to thank you guys for coming out. We really appreciate it. It means a lot to us.
Yeah. In terms of other ways that you can help us out, maybe you live way out of state, or you have a perfect body and your body actually doesn't hurt. Engaging with us on social media means a whole lot to us. Like likes and comments help like boost us and get our message out more. And if you know someone who has a body that hurts, especially if they live in Austin, we would love to help. So tell like friends, family members, whoever about us. We appreciate every little bit of help we get from y'all, and thank you so much again for being here. We're going to put those links in the chat. The other thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to answer any questions, but before we take questions, I'm going to put this last slide up because this has our contact information in terms of our